Here we are, starting another show. Once again. And everything is right here. Everything looks good here. I look on a slant, but we'll keep it like that for now. I really look like I'm on a slant. So hey everyone, welcome aboard this live show. Nice to have everybody on board. Welcome everybody to this live show once again. And here we are, live once again from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Hey everyone. So this is a live tech show. We are number 77. And basically we are Tuesday, May 16th, 2017. This is the tech show where I answer your questions every week, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And I try to, basically do my best to answer questions. Not always easy, answering questions at a distance is not always easy. You can't see the machine, so, you just got to speculate on certain things. And sometimes there are very unusual things happening and interactions with software and hardware. And so it's not always easy, but I do, do the best we can. My name is Gilles. I'm located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And this is a show where we, of course, every week answer your questions. This is, of course, as usual, another little tech show. Been doing this for a little while now. 77. I mean, I was looking at 77 when I actually posted took the PowerPoint. I was like, wow, 77. Quite a lot of shows. It seems that just yesterday was show number 1. So amazing. So hey everybody in the chat room, I will come back to you of course after I answer the questions. The way we work here is I answer the questions that people send me at the email that you see here. I've got a certain number of questions for today, and of course we will be checking out those questions, and we will be answering to the best of our knowledge the questions that we have. So hope everybody is fine, and we'll just do a little something because it's really bothering me. Not a lot of things bother me, but right now one of them is, and it's this camera thing here. Here we go. Let's try it again. Okay, let's snap it in, and of course it doesn't want to snap anymore. Here we go. Sorry guys. Sorry for the little echo. Still waiting for my wireless mics. The tracking number seems to say that it's stuck at the customs. And from experience, I can tell you one thing is that when something's stuck at customs here, it takes a long time before it's unstuck at customs. So they're probably checking the package to see what's inside in here. So hey everyone, welcome aboard. It's always nice to have everybody here. And so, like I said, I will be chatting with you guys and girls in the chat room, and a few, when I get through the questions that we have here. And as usual, here we are. Come on. We have Mr. Paul the cat that just woke up and says, hey, I want to come and see and have a little turn. Here we go. Mr. Paul the cat saying hi to everybody. So, hope everybody's having a great time. This is Mr. Paul, and he's here to say hi to everybody and put some cat hair all over my t-shirt. And so I hope everybody's all right. Very nice temperature yesterday. Today we're about at 70, and we will have tomorrow temperatures in the lower 80s. Kind of cool, and this is going to be really, really nice to have everyone on board. And yes, I got a haircut finally. So hey everybody, welcome aboard. Of course, one of the important moments of this show is if you can donate, help me out a little bit. Really helps me a lot, because takes time to prepare the shows, takes also some time to basically not just prepare the shows, but take some time off of my tech jobs and doing the videos and everything. And if you enjoy what I do, it's greatly appreciated. I mean, AdSense monetization at its lowest that it's been, I'm getting this month the lowest AdSense payment of the past 3 years. So of course, I always wonder what I'm going to do here and how shall I continue. I can't continue on if it continues to lower like that. So donations at the patreon.com/radioandcomputers. You can be a patron and it's automatically deducted the way you want every month. And PayPal at the Yahoo email you see at the bottom. That's another great way to give a little donation, and really is much appreciated. Okay, let's see what we have in the questions. So, got a few questions here. Let me just try to, have Mr. Cat and do my job. So, okay, we've got a few questions about the Windows update, and I'll be back in the chat a little later. So if you got questions, hold on to the questions, because I'm not going to see it go through right now. So unless somebody can answer maybe some of the questions that some people have to ask. So I got Carol T that has Windows Update failures suddenly. And I also have, for Windows Update questions, Frank that says hello from Florida, and Frank is also one of the viewers of my radio stuff. Okay, Carol has an unknown error, 802444019. Well, that error is that Windows Update cannot connect to the Windows servers. So 8024409 means it can't connect. There's something wrong with your internet connection, or the way your PC is connecting to the internet. So one of the first things that I would try is to first identify, did you install a new software? Did you get a new antivirus or firewall or anything, or an update with that? Because that could be one of the first problems here. Make sure no software is blocking Windows Update from actually working well, first of all. So, try to remember it's something new for you, you say. So try to check if there's nothing new on your computer, a new piece of software that might be giving that error. Second thing to try out is unplug your modem, your router, shut down your PC, plug that back so that all the internet comes back, and then from there turn your PC back on and check out if Windows Update works. If it stopped giving your error message, could be possible. I've seen this error a few times on clients. For example, I've seen this happen with clients that change internet service provider, and for some reason on a specific modem with a specific internet service provider, they couldn't connect to Windows Update. It's kind of weird. But you would, I would use my phone, for example, and share my internet from my phone, and suddenly Windows Update would work. So it really has something to do with the connection itself. Scan, make sure you don't have any malware or any viruses on your PC. Scan with Malwarebytes, with the Windows Defender antivirus or whatever the antivirus you're using on the PC. But it really has something to do with your connection here. So last but not least, what you could try to do if it's brand new, you right click on the start button, or I think you're on Windows 7. If you're on Windows 7, go into the control panel, go into System, go into Device Manager, find your network adapter if it's wireless or not, and right click on it, uninstall it. And once that is done, restart your PC. It's going to force the redetection of your internet adapter, or your Ethernet adapter, be it Wi-Fi or not. It's going to reinstall it. If it's a Wi-Fi, you'll have to re-enter your Wi-Fi credentials. Click on your network, give your password. that, you know, any of those things might fix the error, or fix the problem. And last but not least, you can in Windows 7 you can go online to there's the Google. You can use Google and just ask for the Windows 7 Windows Update Fix-It tool. It's a little tool that you download from and make sure you're on the Microsoft website when you do this. It's a little tool that you can download that will examine what could be wrong on your system. You know, there could be a corrupt file in Windows Update, there could be something wrong there. And it will try to fix any problems that it detects and check it out, try it again after that. But I can tell you, 802.44.019 is really, it can't connect to the server. So it doesn't have an internet access to the Windows servers. And that's really what's happening. The other questions are for Frank. You say that on one of your PCs with Windows 7, when you actually want to search for Windows updates, it says it searches for a very long time, doesn't seem to do anything. You know what? That's a very, very common problem of Windows 7. It's not technically a problem if your Windows 7 machine actually makes its updates, but it does happen, and you can sometimes force a Windows update detection. And I've had that so many times on my Windows 7 machines. You ask it to look for Windows updates, and you look after half an hour or an hour, and it's still searching for, are there some updates available? It's a very, very well-known issue in Windows 7, and it doesn't mean your Windows update is broken. It simply is a way that Windows 7 sometimes does that, and it's kind of annoying. You know, just restart your PC, try it again, or, you know, and make sure if you've got the latest updates, you know, just make sure you got the latest updates. If you've got the latest updates, if you've, you know, received updates last Tuesday or last week, everything's working, you know, I mean, your updates are installing and it's fine. You can go into your type Windows updates in the search box in the Windows 7 when you click the start button, and you can go to Windows Update and look for the update history. It's going to show you if you had the latest updates. If it tells you that last week you installed some updates, there's no issue with your Windows update. It's a very, very common thing of Windows 7, and it really doesn't mean that it's broken. And finally, say that your main Windows 10 computer is reinstalling the same update over and over and over and over again. So that means it might not actually be able to install it correctly. You gave me you didn't give me the Windows. You didn't give me the Windows error code, or you know what was the update doing, what was the number, or what was the type of update that it was trying to install. If you you know, maybe you could tell me what was that update. But one of the things that you could do is, once again, go you can go in Windows 10, you can go into the settings, and when you go there, okay, so if let me just check it out here. I go into the settings, and you go to the updates, Windows Update and Security. When you go to Windows Updates, there's advanced options and update settings. And one of the options in the advanced options is, I believe, is it the advanced? I'm trying to find it out here. Every time it's always something I forget. So you got the update history. I believe there's a option where you can actually check for to fix the updates. I'm trying to remember here. Let's fix advanced Windows update. Okay, yeah. If you type fix updates in Cortana, it will show you one option, which is the Windows update troubleshooting that you can actually get, and this will help you troubleshoot your connection. You can also use the Windows Microsoft. You can use the Windows Microsoft Fix-It tool also. It's available for Windows 10. Make sure you're on the Windows or the Microsoft website. There's a Fix-It tool. It could be that that update is stuck for some reason. It can't install. It could be that one of the files of the update is corrupted. So that would block it, and it would actually show up again all the time, every day. So make sure that you check that out with either the Fix-It tool. There are other troubleshooting things. I mean, it's in my list of doing another video of troubleshooting of Windows updates, because there's all sorts of things that you can try. So check it out. But it's not always in. But tell me what is stuck exactly, because sometimes it could be stuck, and the type of update can be stuck because of because of something you got on your PC. Sometimes an update can be stuck and it cannot install itself because it's simply some software in your PC is preventing it from actually working correctly. So that could be some of the things here. So good luck. Okay, what else do we have? We have questions also. Before we continue, Steve Martin has last week had the Microsoft compatibility. Sent the day after we had our show, a day or two after, Steve Martin sent me a compatibility, a problem he's got with the Microsoft compatibility telemetry, taking 5 to 10 minutes every time he starts his computer since he's got Creators Update. So one of the things I want to say, because you've updated your email today, the registry fix that I was to post is the one that you actually had there. So it's a registry fix that apparently for a lot of people seems to work. So I don't know, at this stage I'm not sure why your Windows telemetry thing is stuck. So I'll, if I ever find something, I'll try to help you out, but for now I'm not really sure of what happens. Maybe the way to fix this would be to simply clean install Windows 10 at this point, and it might fix the problem basically. So I don't know, you'll see, but I think maybe a refresh of Windows 10 might be in order, unfortunately. So if I have any information about what else could be giving you that problem, well, I'll let you know, of course, for sure. James Capel has a few questions. First of all, he's got one with Dropbox, by the way. For some reason, I'm getting quite a few duplicate photos in Dropbox. So they are returning even after deleting, and then permanent deleting from the delete folder. How to prevent from happening? Are you using a way to kind of automatically update your pictures from Dropbox? One of the things you got to be careful with duplicates is when you tend to play with photos. Some backup software and some backup utilities tend to look not at the file name, because you could technically have different areas, pictures with the file name that is the same, but sometimes at the size and the date. So if you've done something with the picture, it might actually still be there, but it might have a different date stamp. And some of them will update and make duplicates. Make sure also, because you could have duplicates because they are on your PC at more than one place and you're not aware of it. For example, when you use the photo app in Windows 10, you've got your main pictures, but sometimes there are like thumbnails and or duplicates that are done, because if you do a modification on a picture in Windows 10 photo app, for example, the main picture is untouched. You are actually saving a second picture with the modifications on them. Once again, that could be a cause of duplicates. So I'm not really sure what's going on here, and if I think of anything else, I'll try to I'll try to let you know. And another question you've got is about anti-ransomware. Wondering if there's if you would discuss ransomware protection software, app, or utility. James, you know what? Whatever it is, because people tend to put in different categories, for example, ransomware, and viruses, and so on, and malware. And what happens is that it's actually all the same thing in the sense that they're all bad software. They're all stuff you don't want to have on your PC. So they all of them have a simple cause or simple way of getting into your PC, which is all the same. So an anti-ransomware and an antivirus, an antivirus should see ransomware, should see malware, should see whatever. It's simply that the entry point to a PC of these things is always the same. If you have your Windows updates all the time done, the main entry point of all of this is you doing something on the internet, you clicking on an attachment in an email, you got caught by some kind of phishing scam that gave you a link or some sort. So really, there's no more protection. A lot of people are like, well, my antivirus, but I'd like to have an anti-ransomware. Well, it should technically do all of that. Windows Defender should technically see ransomware, like it sees viruses. It's a specialized kind of virus, if you think about it. It's a specialized type that is there to scam you out of money in some way by encrypting your files. So the thing is the detection is the same. There's no differences in all of that. Some software will tell you, well, I'm an anti-spyware thing. I'm an antivirus thing. And all of that gets mixed up. But, if you buy, for example, the full version of Malwarebytes, it's going to detect not just the malware and the ransomware. It's going to detect the viruses too. It's just different names, but they're all bad stuff, and most antivirus check all of that. So there's nothing to add to make your computer safer. It's really up to you. Security, like I always say, is up to the user. It's the number one security. It's all of your security. I never rely on my antiviruses to detect anything. If you rely on software to keep you safe, well, you're actually missing the boat on what security is, because you're the one that's safe, that makes the computer safe. You're the one that made the actions to get ransomware. It doesn't come on its own by just like sitting down and I'm like, my computer's turned on and hey, I got a virus. Doesn't work like that. Really doesn't work like that. Yes, it could work like that if you don't have any updates. Say your Windows 10 operating system has not been updated for a year and a half. Okay, yeah, you could sit down and just look at your computer plugged to the internet and at some point say, hey, how come I got malware? I haven't done anything. My computer's just there idle. Yeah, but it's got so many holes, and some of them are what we call remote code execution. Remote code execution means from somewhere else, somebody can actually do something through a hole in your system. Look at the. Now I want to talk a little bit about that major ransomware attack that everybody's going through right now, and I see so many things. From the news that is totally false. It's scary, every time I see something like that is false, I'm always wondering, okay, if the tech news is not right, how can a newspaper really let me know, how can a newspaper really let me know about the regular news, and that I could be sure that I would be safe? and that news is true, you know. So anyways, it can hit anybody that doesn't have updates. But you know that what we are living right now, that major attack on the web, you know, is due to partly some unpatched machines. That, yes, once you've clicked, because you know the first step was that somebody somewhere clicked on a phishing scam, and that was the first step. And okay, I infected the computer, one computer at work, but there's hundreds of computers in the network where I work. So everything spread. If there was no updates, everything spread within the network, because once it's on one machine, it could do a remote code execution on every machine it sees on the network, the local area network, the one of the company. That's why a lot of companies, by the way, have zones. A major company will usually divide its security in zones. And why? Because in a possibility of a malware attack, what's going to happen? Only one zone will be affected. The rest of the company still works. And that is a good, you know, most big companies that have a good IT department have that. It's zones. And one of the biggest problems that we're seeing with this attack right now is the fact that, apart from those that weren't updated, a lot of the attacks are Windows XP stuff. You know, a lot of the attacks are Windows XP. And one of the things that you know, somebody told me, he says, well, you know, why are they using Windows XP? One of the biggest problems is all the embedded systems that are running Windows XP, but you don't really know about it. You know, for example, you know, ATMs that are running Windows XP. You know, we don't see Windows XP. When we go to the ATM, we have that screen that shows us that you can choose, and you know, I want to have $100 and that's it, or I'm going to make a deposit. Underneath, you know, a lot of them are on Windows XP. A lot of robots, a lot of machinery that control things are on Windows XP again today. You know, MRI scans in hospitals, a lot of them are on Windows XP. Why? Because when they bought it, you know, they spent the millions of dollars to buy them. That was the latest technology when they bought it. And the biggest problem there is, well, you know, the company doesn't do it anymore, so they don't get updates. Or a lot of the hospitals, a lot of the small government agencies that might have gotten bitten by this ransomware, they don't have the resource, they don't have the money. You know, governments are cutting down on the money. So a lot of you know, hospitals just don't have the budget to have a good IT department and to update, you know, the different systems. So it's going crazy because we are too much. This is showing how our technology is relying too much on old technology, including on the big gun, you know, multi-million-dollar machines that do things of really, you know, really important things. And they're still on Windows XP. And you can understand, you know, I can understand some things like that, okay, I've got 20 enterprise grade machines that do specific tasks that cost me $10 million each. And 15 years later, it still does the job that I want. I don't see why I should upgrade it. You know, because it's tens of millions of dollars, and now, you know, it's probably like $30 or $40 million to do the same change, you know. And these companies sometimes are a little tight on cash, and they're like, well, you know, this does the job. I don't see why I'm going to change it. But all the time is what's happening is that you're relying on something that is unpatched, that has tons of security holes. In a lot of the devices, you know, very specialized machinery with embedded systems. it happens extremely often that the company runs out, goes out of business. What happens then? Your system is now on its own. It doesn't get any more updates. It doesn't get updates anymore. It doesn't get security updates. Your system is just there. So a lot of it has to do with that, and that's the biggest problem right now. I would just say that if for those that were infected, for those that are infected because they didn't update their machines, well, I'm sorry, but that I can't understand that. Another interesting thing about the psychology of ransomware was very, very interesting, because there was an article that I was reading about the price they asked, which is $300 in value in Bitcoin, which is like a quarter Bitcoin or something like that. Basically, they were saying that there's a threshold. $300 is like a psychological threshold that a lot of companies and a lot of people that would get that ransomware will say, well, $300, I get my stuff back. Why not? Why not? If it would have been $2,000, now companies and people, a lot of them would have said, no, we're just going to restart the machines, get that back up, whatever. But the Windows XP stuff, you're stuck with that. Well, $300, man, well, let's pay. It's really interesting on how they chose $300. There's some psychology behind it, and the number of people that will pay. And so it's crazy. And Microsoft, Microsoft didn't have to do what they did. I've seen too many articles where the people doing the articles said, "Oh, damn you, Microsoft! It shows us how our Windows is bad, and who cares? And your company is bad, and your software is bad." And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute here. This has been patched for 2 months for pretty much everybody, and they did something out of the blue that was totally, they didn't have to do it at all. And you know what? They didn't have to, and they actually, in a very quick and timely manner, released a patch for Windows XP. But now there's something that you got to remember with that. For a lot of computers, that patch will go through. But for embedded machines, that patch will not necessarily update, because embedded machines and computers don't work exactly in the same way. So, kind of interesting, but I think it's one of the important things you gotta know is that this is basically showing us that the future of the internet, what it'll be like. This one attacks PCs, but the same type of attacks will one day attack maybe iPads and iPhones, or Android phones and tablets, or it all has to do with the fact that bad guys somewhere are doing something. So I don't know. It's something to think about. I think we're going into a very peculiar time with all of that, and we got to be aware that all of this can happen. That's for sure. Okay, what else do we have here? Let's check it out. Sorry, I'm just cleaning out the things here. One little thing I want to say, there's Jacqueline McBride saying, why did Windows Update turn off my Komodo firewall? First of all, Windows Update does not necessarily turn off, because that's the thing that you might think. Well, Windows Update stopped, turned off my Comodo firewall. It might not be at all that case. It might just be that there was an update, and it could be that it broke the Comodo firewall. It could be that it did stop it for a simple reason that it was not compatible with the updates that they pushed, which, and it happens in Windows 10, by the way. People sometimes get mad and say, hey, why is that software not working anymore? Or was removed? Well, that's because it's not compatible. They know it's not compatible. So when they updated your machine, they removed it because they knew it wouldn't work, or it would cause some issues. Last but not least, all I gotta say, Jacqueline, is do not install any firewall from any company. You don't need that in a computer at all. Okay, Windows 10 has its own firewall. That's quite all right. And if you're using a router, even better. There's a firewall and a router that's like a gazillion times better than any software firewall in a computer. There is no need for a third-party firewall. Never. This is antivirus companies trying to screw you with, oh, you gotta use our firewall. You gotta use our firewall. So you don't need third-party firewalls. Don't even install anything that has a firewall. Just if you want to have third-party antivirus, use whatever you want, but don't use the one that has a firewall included, or don't get the firewall for sure. So basically, it's useless to have third-party firewalls on a computer. It usually brings more problems than anything else, anyways. So you don't need that. Okay, let's check out now other little questions. One of the things I wanted to see here, just a few things checking out here. Make sure that we're following in the okay. So Stephen Mail had a strange occurrence with its. We detected something unusual about a recent sign-in to the Microsoft account at Gmail. To help keep you safe, we required an extra security challenge. So you say that you've received a strange email from Microsoft that there was some suspicious activity on my account. But there's a problem there, Stephen Mail, because the email that you're showing here is Gmail and has nothing to do with your Microsoft account. So I do not, Microsoft will send you something weird with a Microsoft account that's an Hotmail, but not a Gmail, usually. And even then, just to keep, because I'm trying to understand here. Are you logged in with a Gmail on your PC? That's kind of interesting. Okay. So you say you got two-factor authentication and everything anyways, and you're wondering how someone okay, first of all, okay, they're not saying, they're saying that there's something unusual about a recent sign-in, and they're saying that there was something there. Remember one thing, if you ever use, Stephen, a VPN of some sort, if you tried a VPN, remember that if you activated a VPN, you are logging in from other places around the internet. So you could be logging in from another place. That could be the first occurrence. So it could be if you ever use a VPN. It might be that, of course, you've signed in, but you've signed in from somewhere that they're not sure about, because you never log in from there. One of the things you got to remember here. Second, make sure you don't have a virus or malware. Some viruses are present on your system you don't know about it, and they redirect traffic. Once again, making a connection from somewhere else instead of your regular internet connection. So 2 things you got to check. Have you used a VPN, first of all, or not? If you use a VPN, that's normal. Didn't use a VPN, make sure you don't have a virus that's redirecting. Make sure you don't have settings that are redirecting your internet connection. And try to think, if you receive a notice like that, were you using your computer at the time that is stated here? Just by curiosity. The other things that are very, very important that you got to remember about accounts when you log into accounts is that there are several ways for you to log into your accounts, and two-step or two-factor authentication is one of the ways that your account has to enter. Remember that, yeah, you can enter with two-factor, but say you forgot your phone and you're somewhere else. One of the things that is going to happen here is that you might want to say, oh, I really need to get into my account. So when you go to log into the main account page, there are other ways to log in. There is a place in the page that's going to say, oh, you can log in using other methods, or there are other ways to sign in. Usually it's in small below the main sign-in page. And there it's going to ask you, oh, do you want to enter your security questions? Or do you want me to send a text message to this number or an email to that email? So there are different ways that this can happen. Whatever happened here, you say that you've changed your passwords. And that's the number one thing to do, okay? Make sure that you have a new password and that everything, by doing that, you are just blocking any way of going in. But remember one thing, one of the ways that I've seen people get hacked is by security questions. Remember those good old security questions? It's not because you turned on two-factor authentication that the security questions aren't there anymore. They're still there, and it's still a way you can sign in. And one of the biggest problems with security questions that I totally hate and should not exist, people choose, first of all, easy questions. And these easy questions have easy answers. And if somebody, thinks about it or reverse engineers a little bit the person, So for example, if you use authentication with questions and one of the questions is, where do you live? It's kind of easy to deduct from a lot of things, okay, where you are in Colorado, and maybe chose one of the questions and decided to answer a city there. You got to be careful with that, because these are ways that it can happen. So just by at least changing your just by changing your password, you already did something really good. So it already protects you a lot. And you'll see if you ever get, but be careful about, go into your account and check out your security questions, things like that. Make sure that it's very tough and nobody can really find out these questions. To give you guys an idea of how easy sometimes it is to find security questions. When my mom died and we lost control of one of the bank accounts, I was able to get control back by going to the bank's website and thinking of, okay, what would my mom answer on these questions, because I know her well, which totally gave me access to the bank account via internet. And that's how we managed to get out of a situation that was getting really, really out of control. In my case, it was an okay thing. It was a normal thing to do. It was something that we needed to absolutely to do. But it could have been a bad guy that knows my mother well. It gives you an idea here that two-factor authentication needs to be secure everywhere. And remember, there are other ways to enter into your account when you go to the page. And remember that you were saying you have used Opera. And Opera, okay, your Microsoft account has a Gmail address. Okay, you've used Opera, and remember, Opera is VPN. You are logging into a Gmail via Opera with the VPN turned on. You're not logging in from your usual place. That might trigger a alert. And there might be a time difference. It might not trigger the alert immediately. Maybe you have, maybe you went to your Gmail through Opera. The VPN in Opera might have been turned on, and it took a couple of hours or several hours for Gmail to send you that, or it sent it, but the time it took for you to get it, it took a while, There are other types of verifications that happen with logons that sometimes does not trigger a alert immediately. An example of that is if I log on to my Gmail accounts from other devices, it happens sometimes that, I've logged on to a device that I never use. The other day I logged on with my Linux machine to a Gmail. And it took about an hour before I got a notification on my Samsung phone saying, hey, there's a security issue. Somebody logged on with a Linux machine, So, these are things that you can check for, but be careful. Changing a password was perfect. It was a good thing to do. Go into your account's details, go online, go to the Gmail, go into your personal options in the Gmail itself. Check out for, all sorts of personal info you've got there, and especially security questions. Are they still there? Try to, prevent any third-party way of getting there. That's one of the things that you need to just be careful. And it could be just a warning that somebody attempted to sign in but didn't sign in also. If you go on a Gmail, for example, in your security options, you will see attempted logins to your accounts. And most Gmails get attempted logins because somebody somewhere wants to really, get access to your account. So, but you had the right, the correct way of dealing with things by, changing your password. So at least that's good. So that's pretty much, what I had to say on this part with the account securities. And you know what, everybody that has a cell phone, please turn on two-factor authentication. Such an amazingly good way of doing things. Another thing that I got to answer for Stephen Mail that was wondering about Windows 10 S. Now, of course, we've learned that iTunes is coming to the Windows Store, which means Windows 10 S will have iTunes. And I've heard some rumors that I can't talk about things that are pretty interesting coming to Windows 10. And of course, Stephen Mail's question is, did I change my idea about Windows 10 S? No, not totally. I mean, I still don't see, even though you get iTunes from the store or a couple of cool apps, I still think if you got Windows 10 S on any device by the end of the year, upgrade to Windows 10 Pro. I don't even see why you're staying on Windows 10 S and get stuck with just doing things through the store and get stuck by only using Edge, because Microsoft did make it clear you will not allow any browsers within the Windows Store. That means you are stuck with Edge, and you will get iTunes and a few interesting things maybe, but my idea is I could see what iTunes is the second most downloaded, installed third-party application for Windows. Second. So there's a lot of of people that got this. As a tech guy, I see it everywhere. I don't know how many times I had to, go fix a computer that had iTunes issues. If your main goal is to go on the internet, check email, and have iTunes, and you don't really use anything else, or maybe Office, I can see more people saying, "Oh yeah, I'm okay with Windows 10 S. I got iTunes from the store, and I downloaded, Office from the store, and everything is all right." But I still think, just go to Windows 10 Pro and whatever device you've got, even if you have to pay extra. I still don't understand totally why Windows 10 S should be interesting for you. Once again, because it's Windows 10. It is Windows 10. That's it. It's a variant of Windows 10 Pro, but it just blocks you from doing a ton of things that you might want to do. That's why I did not change, but it helps me understand that maybe more people will stick in Windows 10 S thanks to these things than previously thought. That's mostly what I have to say. And I can't take out the idea that one of the interesting things about Windows 10 S is the security side. By going to the store to get apps, it makes you very, very secure and prevents you from getting viruses from downloading all sorts of stuff. So there is a positive side to Windows 10 S. It is a little better now that iTunes coming and a few apps that will be of interest. But you know what? I personally, I will not want a device with Windows 10 S. I'll want it with Windows 10 Pro. If I'm about to buy something that has that, I'll get the Pro version. Even after January 1st, I'll pay the $50 to get the Pro version. I don't want to be stuck there. And one of the things also that makes it interesting about Windows 10 S is on ARM, because we know that tons and tons of devices will run Windows 10 on ARM basically, and that's going to be an interesting thing to look at. Windows 10 S on ARM could be interesting, for the basics of what people do on tablets or phones. It's going to be kind of cool. It's going to be kind of very, very cool to see that. So Paul the Cat is really getting lazy and just looking at me and saying, "Hey, I'm okay here." But it's something to look at. But personally, I'm still wondering why the hell Windows 10 S. Personally. Okay, AMD versus Intel. That's a question that comes to me from a new viewer called Sylvain, and he actually is right here in the province of Quebec. He's in the city of Trois-Rivières, which is about 100 kilometers east of Montreal, a little more. And he's got questions actually that he sent me in French. He's actually thinking of getting himself a desktop computer, and he wonders what my thoughts are on AMD versus Intel on the CPU side. And he says that he did stumble upon one of stumbled on one of my videos where I was talking about both CPUs, and he says, well, I seem to have a little something more for Intel. It's purely, I'd say the little something more I got about for Intel is purely tech guy related. Intel PCs tend to be cooler, run cooler, and long term have less problems, usually. Now, that said, whatever you choose is fine. And with the AMD, 10
AMD
Ryzen, with the AMD Ryzen CPUs coming that are extremely powerful. I gotta say, I don't want to influence any of the buying, because I have to say that by with all that's new, I think it's really well, all that's new. Basically, it's really I'm gonna I think that this AMD CPUs could be extremely interesting. So you know what? Just make sure that you you choose whatever you want in the amount of money you've got, and choose the performance. Choose the performance of that you like, And I got to say, with the Ryzen CPUs, you might want to choose an AMD because of the performance it will give you versus the money spent, and that especially if it's a gaming PC or anything. Make sure. And whatever you'll buy and whatever you have, it's quite all right. I'll never say to somebody, "Oh, you got an AMD that is a load of..." No. It's quite all right. Whatever you have, it's quite all right. Whatever you have is fine. Hey, Kitty, what do you think? AMD or Intel? Doesn't really care. As long as it's got food, doesn't really care about the rest. It's funny because somebody else had one of his question. Sylvain has AMD versus Intel, but we have our friend Charlie that is watching from the United States, loves the show, has been watching since episode 33. Oh, cool. Long time. And his question is, he's about to buy a new PC, and he's kind of baffled of not sure between a laptop or a desktop. He wants to know what would change, or what would make somebody want to buy a desktop versus a laptop and so on. And the question comes very, very much of what several little factors, several little things that you might decide upon. First, what you're going to do with the computer. If it's for gaming, you'll tend to use more of a desktop PC. Why? Because gamers tend to want to tweak the system, change the graphics adapter, do things that you can't on a laptop. Desktop PCs, if you like to tweak the system, you can easily change parts, you can easily change hard drive, or add or remove or RAM, or change the graphics adapter for something more powerful. All sorts of settings, all sorts of little things that you can put in there easily. You can have several hard drives. You can have, it's easy to tweak a desktop because it has a lot of space, and it's made for that. It's easy to change everything around. Where a laptop is more of a fixed thing, that once you get it, except for maybe adding RAM or changing your hard drive, the rest of the system is going to stay like that forever. There's very little room for tweaking. And some of the newer laptops give you zero room for tweaking. I've seen a few new laptops that actually don't even have any access to hard drive or anything, and you're like, wow, okay, this is, you gotta really take it apart just to remove a hard drive. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. The other thing that you'll want to do is, do you want to have it portable or not? Is your idea of sitting in the same place on a desk, at a desk, is okay with you or not? That's another thing you got to think. A lot of the people that buy laptops want the portability of it. They want to be able, and I actually like it a lot. And basically, what's happening is they want to use their PC everywhere in the home. I love that. You know, I've moved on. I add desktops all the time. Okay, to give you guys an idea. And I am one of the guys that likes to, you know, okay, I got a laptop, now I can go from room to room. It's so cool. And I actually am very portable even within my home. You know, a lot of people think of laptops as, well, I'm not going anywhere outside of my home with my computer. Because that's the idea they get of, I want of a laptop. Oh, I don't work outside my home with the computer, or it's not just for outside your home. You got to think of you know, do you want to be in the backyard in a nice sunny day with your laptop? That's a kind of cool idea. Do you want to compute everywhere? You know, I compute in my office. I will sometimes eat in the kitchen, and you know, bring my laptop and, you know, eat lunch while watching something or some tech stuff on my laptop. In the evening, you know, I come into the living room. It's like, oh, I'm going to watch a movie, but you know, I'm not in just the movie mode. I'm kind of a multitask guy. Okay, I'll watch the movie, but I want to have my laptop, do little things on the laptop while I'm looking at the movie, stuff like that. So there's a portability of within your home that's kind of cool. Also, it all depends what you want. And finally, are laptops as powerful as desktops? You got to remember one thing. For same price, okay? If we put it the same price, say you spend $1,000 on a laptop, $1,000 on your desktop. You'll have a much more powerful desktop at $1,000 than the laptop, because laptops, because of the fact that they're smaller, is a little more expensive for the same power. But still, if you put the money, you'll have laptops that are as powerful as a desktop. So, you know, there used to be a long time ago huge differences where laptops were way less powerful than desktops. Not really today, but you might want to you know, you might have to pay a little more in order to have that that same power in a laptop. So really, it's up to you. And for the rest, you know, you could put your laptop sometimes on a big screen TV, like here, you know, if you want, or stuff like that. It all depends what you want to do. Hello, chat room. Got a few more things to check out in the email, but we're gonna say hi to the chat now. Hey everyone, Alex Tuttle, nice to have you here. Gable Pearls, Tim Robinson, Jacqueline McBride. What else do we have? Atawahinta, hello there, nice to have you here. Sheriff's House. What do we have? Sean Robinson, hello there. Bobby Burgess, David Walker, Stephen Mail, Albert Zappa. Am I missing anyone here? Please say hello if I am. I'm sorry. Patrick Manny. Tim Brennan, hello there. Nice to have everyone here. Josh K. Anybody I've missed, say hello, please. Say hello, please. And yeah, the cumulative update that you've got, KB4019472, is an update from last week that you've just got. So you just got the cumulative update that was available last week. So it's really security. Your security updates have arrived, Jacqueline. You just probably, for some reason, you didn't have them yet on your system. Okay, because I remember the number 401-9472 is last week's update, if I'm not mistaken, from last Patch Tuesday. Hey, Sherwood Abdullah from Denmark, hello there. KWell66, hello there. Miss Lady Catherine, the stalker. No problem. I want more stalkers, Miss Lady Catherine. Robert Redmond, hello there. Nice to have you here. I want to have as many stalkers as you can. So that's pretty cool to see everybody here. Paul the cat wants something. You know, when he's like this, comes to see me all the time. And I know one of the things he wants is to go outside because it's so beautiful right now. But I'm trying to not. What are you doing here? He's going there next to the TV, which I don't always like. So there's a cat in the TV. It's a 3D cat. So you guys don't even need glasses. There's a 3D perspective on the cat here. Cat is coming out of the TV. He's got his butt on the TV now. And he's trying to turn around and saying, what the hell? No, don't do that. That I don't want. He had the idea of, okay, I want to... So, anyways, hello everyone. Did I miss anybody here? Anybody? Hey, Gregor. Nice to have you here. And pretty cool. No word on Tommy, but I did get an email from Tommy today, so I guess he probably isn't too bad. So, but I did get an email. If I look here at the emails, I got an email from Tommy at 6:47 a.m. this morning. So he seems to be here. Seems to be here. Ribble Pearl says, I got another one of those KB3150513 again last night. Fourth one. Don't think I'm ever going to get cumulative update. By the way, there's, for those that, because I saw the chat a little earlier, is that the cumulative update, I've got questions from Tommy that asked me about the cumulative update, by the way. And just to complete on AMD versus Intel, AMD is a lower priced CPU most of the time. That's why for a long time they were very popular. PCs with AMD tended to be less expensive. Yes, the unfortunate side to AMD on most of the CPUs runs hotter. And so I don't like the fact that a PC needs to run hotter. Kind of, you know, might actually add a lot of stock fans on AMD CPUs are cheap, really were the bad kind, where Intel CPUs I've always a very good fan. Things like that. But you know what? I'd like to see the Ryzen. You know, I'd like to see AMD Ryzen. You know, once the temperatures they reach, maybe they're better. You know, it's a new generation. And as for the CPU, you know, it's still okay. And I mean, you know, it all depends on budget most of the time for a lot of people. Don't forget, 6 p.m. today, we are going to have our Insider Hour, Windows Insider Hour today. Got a little bit of information of all sorts of little things, including the new design language, Fluent design language, which is very interesting. Coming in waves. It's not going to be just a one thing at Fall Creators Updates. It's going to be several things for several updates. So lots of interesting things here that I want to talk about. I will answer Viper Boy Tommy's question. So of course he sent a question this morning. That means it must be not too bad. And you know, Tommy, if you are watching this live or not, one of the things that's cool, you know what? Everybody's worried about you in the chat room. Everybody wants you to be okay. So it's just a great community. We all, you know, it's really a lot of fun because it's like it's a fantastic community that everybody loves each other. Just so cool to see this. And I mean, we can all make a better world, I guess, if we could all be together. So, okay, Tommy has, first of all, he says there's still no cumulative updates yet. Not cumulative updates, creators update yet. I always mix them up, by the way. When you guys put CU, you know, cumulative update and creators update have the same letters. So creators update yet, but he says patience is a virtue, and yes, be patient. Please be patient. So he says, even though he doesn't have the cumulative update yet, can you still download and make the flash drive with Rufus if I ever need to have it? Yes, you don't have to have it installed. You can download with the Media Creators update, the Media Creation tool, sorry, you can download the ISO on your PC. It will be the ISO of Creators Update. You can create your USB thumb drive immediately. It's going to be done. Don't need to wait for you to get Creators Update in order for that to be done. So you can do it immediately if you want. Do you have any updates on how many people got the Creators Update on their machines? So a few weeks ago I said 90% of the people, and you know what? I searched through a lot of crap on Microsoft website to see if I could find new numbers. There were no new numbers. There was no numbers that were announced at build on Creators Update. The last number I have is a number from about a week and a half ago, and it's 85% of the people did not have it yet. They seem to be going very slow on this one, and I think they want to make sure that if you are getting it, you'll get it so that it works really, really well. So just make sure that be patient also. Eventually it's going to be there. I kept one of my machines here with the anniversary update on it, a Dell computer that's about 5 or 6 years old. Curious to see when it's going to update. Still not there yet. It got cumulative updates from last week, but there's no Creators Update yet. There are a few people that were saying that that maybe some of the oldest hardware might not update the Creators Update, but I'm not sure about that yet. Most of what I've seen is that pretty much everybody will get it, even old hardware, but it might take a long time. But you know what? I have a client that I did see her Acer, a 7-year-old Acer that had Windows 7 on it. And that 7-year-old Acer did not even have anniversary update. And when you checked updates, she was getting updates, but she's still at the November update. So you know what? Some people still are not at anniversary update. Kind of interesting. That might be very, very long. So just wait for it. Don't rush it or anything. And to answer a little question here about Steve Martin that actually completes his just sent me it simply completes his problem that he has with the telemetry thing. And he was wondering if he installs the anniversary update and wait or have it come through, because if you forced it, maybe your PC was not ready to get it. So I'm not, if you forced it, that's something that you might want to do. I'd try it. Try not to just install the anniversary update and wait for it to appear, wait for the Creators Update to appear by itself and install. Maybe you'll see that it's not yet ready for you too. But you have nothing to lose, especially if it annoys you that it's so so long and you have so many problems. Eric says, hello, thank you for the answers to my questions. And the question he's got is, I'd like to ask you about what is the best way to store passwords. I store passwords from dozens of accounts on different websites, but it seems it's not a good idea. So, as for passwords, I think the best things to do for most of everybody, use a password manager. If you have too many passwords to remember, Alexander, use a password manager. One of the most popular is available for pretty much every version of Windows. There's even an extension for it in the Windows Store if you have Windows 10. And I think you can use LastPass password manager. I think LastPass is a good one. With a password manager, you know, don't have to remember all of those passwords all the time. The worst thing that you can do is, there are two things to avoid. Try not to have a file on your PC with you know, the passwords of every website, for a simple reason. Not that it can get hacked or anything, but mostly because somebody could just stumble across that file and see your passwords of everything you do. And try not, and that one's a very strong recommendation. Do not store passwords within the browser. You know, when the browser asks, oh, do you want me to remember this for you? Never use that option. One of the recent flaws in Microsoft Edge that's still not patched, by the way, is that if you do that, there is a possibility of a hacker to get passwords from your Edge browser right now. There is a flaw, but it's not remote execution, so it means that they can't get it from outside. They have to be on your machine, so it lowers the threat of that problem. Still, bad guy that would look at your computer could technically find the passwords stored in cookies with Microsoft Edge. There's a flaw there, and that's why you don't want it in any browser. You don't want any browser to remember your passwords, because if there's something that happens, there's a flaw in the browser, there's a security hole, they could technically maybe, you know, steal the passwords. And also, you know, having the passwords automatic by your browser is kind of very, very cool, because it's easy for you to enter any website. But if you forget your computer open somewhere where somebody else can actually have access to it, they can access all of your information, your email, and your accounts. And last but not least, yes, there is a new YouTube design. It's not available for everybody. One thing here. Second thing, because, you know, Alexander gave me the if you go to youtube.com/new, usually it gives you access. Now, most of us, including here, are not getting access. It's a temporary thing that they put online. They asked for people to give their opinion on it. And now, right now, if I go to the new YouTube design page, it says, "Thank you for your interest in, you know, the new YouTube design." But right now, we're looking at the data from everybody. But yes, new YouTube design coming up, including a dark theme and a complete redesign of YouTube itself. So kind of interesting things coming up with that. But it's not available for a lot of people. For those that ask me, why can't I see the Anything Goes show of last Friday? If you're in the United States, you are not able to see that show. The karaoke songs that me and Gabrielle have sung at the end blocked the video for US. So that's perfect, Tim. The text file in your desktop says my secret passwords. Oh God. So what else do we have here? What else do we have here? Most of it you can't, Gripple Pearls. What happens with the update is that sense telemetry, and Microsoft is pretty much the only one that knows that everything. You know, you got to remember one thing. A lot of PCs that don't have it yet, that they're not taking a chance, a lot of them are probably quite all right. And if you force it, it still works fine. But they know about little things that could prevent it from working fine. Or it will give another step that basically you need to understand, like, oh, my Wi-Fi is not going to work, or stuff like that. You know. So, Yeah, well, you know, give it time, Gripple Pearls. It should eventually do something and work. Just be patient. You know, just be patient. And like I say, don't force anything. Most people that have problems seem to be the one that forced it. What do you have a problem with Windows 7 updating Windows 7, Douglas? Is it does it at least have the latest, you know, updates? Well, and Douglas Elliott, hello there, by the way. I think I didn't say hi earlier. So yes, Bobby, I was waiting for her postal address. I didn't have it, so she sent me her postal address late last night. I didn't have time today because of live shows, but tomorrow I'm shipping the Soft 66 with a tracking number and everything, and she seems to be extremely happy to have won the contest. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So what else do we have here? Yeah, you know, a lot of people force it and don't have problems. So you know, it could be quite fun. What else do we have here? Tawin says, personally, I would not force the creative update. It's her life's philosophy. You know, it's a little bit like it's you know, trying to update stuff all the time. I always say to everybody, well, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that, I gotta say, is a very strong philosophy for me as a tech guy. When people say, oh, there's an update for that, works fine now, let's not do anything about it, you know. So I can tell you that. Yep, Susan is the lucky winner of the Soft 66. Pretty cool. Have you ever want to explore the outer net? You know, I've not really looked into that much, but you know, I'm a curious guy, so sometimes, you know, I just get on my computer and start doing things and look at things that, you know, I don't use very often. So there's a lot of stuff, you know, that I need to check out for sure. Yep, Google I/O. We'll learn a lot of stuff. We know that we learned today that the Google Assistant is coming to iOS, so iPads and iPhones will be updated with the Google I/O stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see it's going to be interesting to see the assistant. And the cat is really coming around me like, okay, I want to go out. But apart from that, it's going to be interesting to see. You know, I'll be, of course, checking out the different things of Google I/O for sure. They're going to surely make a lot of interesting announcements there for sure. Hey Jacqueline, here it seems okay. Everything here is okay. So if it's buffering, might be just at your end that's happening something. You know, YouTube sometimes. Apart from that, very interesting. Yeah, it's exactly that, Patrick. Get me out. I want to be out. Let me out. I'm trying not to let me out too much because I have this cat hater just on the other side of the backyard, and he hates Paul the cat and threatens to call, you know, the city so that they get him if he goes in his yard and stuff like that. And I'm always like, come on, it's just a cat, and it's, and this cat is like the coolest cat. It's like the kind of cat that just wants to be friends with you, man. It's probably one of the best cats around here. So so I try to let him out like more in the evening or in the middle of the night, because I know that nobody's there to and now he's friends with a skunk that's been coming around the backyard. Yesterday I started, now that the windows are open, I started smelling the skunk, and so I went to the backyard and I looked, and Paul and the skunk were like next to each other, and just nothing special. The skunk just looked at Paul and ignored the cat totally. It was like, it's okay, we're friends or something. I don't know. So yeah. So I kind of told the neighbor, if you're calling the city or anything, because if he calls the city, there's a new law here in Montreal that's completely crazy. If your cat goes on the neighbor's yard and he doesn't want to, it's a $500 fine for me. So I kind of told him the other day, he was like threatening a little. So I looked at him seriously and I said, look, man, if you're calling the city and they get the cat and it costs me $500, I looked at him and I said, you have no idea how living in your apartment can suddenly become really hell. Because, just, scare the cat away and that's it. If you scare him, he's not going to go there anymore. Just scare him. Every time you see him on your yard, just scare him. He's going to come back to this yard and, So, at least, he hasn't been doing too much. Most of the times that I've seen Paul in the past few weeks, doesn't seem to go there, so let's cross our fingers. But man, $500 is something that I don't have. To pay, I can tell you that. Reese, I would like to see the Anything Goes video. Wonder if there's any way around the blocks of YouTube did. Yes, you can. If you use a VPN, you can use a VPN, and if you use a VPN from Canada, here I can see the video. It's not blocked. It's here. When I click on it, it says that the revenue share is half for the artist and half for me, but it's not blocked in Canada. It's not blocked everywhere. It only blocked in certain areas. So firearms are not technically allowed. You got to have a special permit, and you're not technically allowed to really have a firearm on you here in Montreal. And it's actually something that's not a lot. Of course there are some. But it's not much of a problem here. We're not, in Canada in general, but here in Quebec, firearms are not something that is in our mind. We don't. I've had one firearm when I was young. My dad had a gun, but you know what? It never was anything special. I can tell you that. So so firearms are not a problem here. And Montreal is such a safe city that you can go take a walk at 4 in the morning, and chances that something's going to happen to you are very, very slim. I don't know how many times I came back home walking, and sometimes walking half an hour, 1 hour, because I took a few beers, and you come back walking. Never had issues. It's a very, very safe city. It's like I was saying once, here in Montreal, okay, to give you guys an idea, we've had the eighth murder this year until now. 8 murders. Tons of U.S. cities have that every day. It's like, last year I think we had 39 murders. And if you look at the 39 murders, almost all of them are related to gangs or drugs. You know, it's something that's we're really an amazingly safe city here. That I can tell you that. So you know, here it's not something that we are we're you know. You really need special permits, and everywhere, you know, it's getting a little more heavier, a little bit more difficult, because of course one of the things that you see now is that there's metal detectors everywhere. Things that we don't, you know, 10 or 15 years ago, we wouldn't see that. We wouldn't have metal detectors. I remember going to concerts, and we just get in. You know, they wouldn't even check if we had something on us. Now going to a concert is going through a metal detector and going through tons of security, and it's like, what the hell happened in 10 years? But, you know, in general, it's a very, very quiet city, and rarely, you know, is there any problems in general. And of course, there's idiots everywhere. You know, every city has its major idiots, but you know, it's pretty cool. Yeah, exactly. Like Stephen Mel says, 39 murders. That's a typical weekend in Chicago. Yeah. Here, it's, you know, it's very, very. And in tech support, yeah, you just heard that. What is that number? It's called, yeah, private number. So, anyways, I didn't even think you guys heard that. The buzzing of the phone. Oh God. So, anyways, you know, here it's the only problem I've got here is you know, that idiot neighbor in the back that doesn't like Paul. And the funniest thing, he's got like 15 cats on his lawn every night. The other day I was looking at his yard. There were 3 cats. And I was like, okay. You know, I think he thinks that he's going to, you know, I don't know, say something or whatever. And now I got a message. So, anyways. Okay, but did you choose a VPN from? You got to choose a VPN that actually that actually lets you choose what country you can watch from. But it's sad that the anything goes show. You know, I was thinking of going back and removing the karaoke. You know, to let it go through. If I do that, they're gonna let it go through everyone. But you know. It's, you know, Alex was looking for his phone. Okay. So, pretty funny. So, okay. Anybody have last minute question or anything? And as for, I don't know. I don't seem to have any problems for the streaming. Here everything is green, so you know. So you know, I can't, Bobby, because it's, you know, it's very clear. It's a takedown in countries because of the music. It's a DMCA thing. I can't you know, say, well, you know, why are you blocking this or anything? Because yeah, it's clearly music, and it's clearly songs from other artists. It's just what's sad on it is that it's just what's sad about it is that it's not every country that blocks it. You know, as they say, when I've got the email the next day, it said, look, it's not blocked everywhere. It's in most places it still plays. It's just that half of the revenue is going to the artists. Okay, that's interesting, Reese. Maybe it, you know, YouTube knows when we're using VPN, so maybe it did see that you are using a VPN and still blocked it for some reason. One of the things I've noticed when using a VPN on YouTube, just to see how it reacts, I've noticed that the ads are local ads. So even with a VPN, it seems that YouTube has a way of like saying, no, maybe it's looking at cookies in your computer or something. So, you know, yes, I did have a haircut. Everybody did notice that. Got it on Saturday. And especially now that it's becoming hot. And in the wintertime, I like to have relatively long hair because it's like a natural hat. So when it really is cold outside, I'm all right. I don't need to put a hat on or anything. But I gotta say that in the summertime, it's something that you're like, nah, you know what? Starting, especially tomorrow with the temperature in the 80s, I can tell you that. So cool, Alex. Send me that email. We'll have it for the Windows Insider Hour coming a little later on. And I think, you know what? Every time I do this, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna have alcohol today with the Windows Insider show or anything. And I was thinking this afternoon about, I started this show and everything, and I was like, nah, I think I'm gonna have a little something. I think I'm gonna have a glass of wine while doing the Insider show. I think that's gonna be good. Oh God. What else do we have? Anybody else? Oh, I'm now ensign. Woohoo! That's nice. That's nice. Oh God, beers and a bag of wine gums. I've never. Does anyone like wine gums? God, these are horrible. I don't. They're really horrible. So, Okay, let's check it out. Thank you, Tim, for your donation. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Oh, Patrick Manny, you don't even know what... You don't even want to know what they are. You love them, Tim? I hate them. Boy, I hate the wine gums. I've never enjoyed wine gums. For some reason. Maybe it's just me. I did see a bag the other day. I think I was at a grocery store. Where was I? Grocery store? And I saw a bag. And I was like, oh God, no. I don't want to have that for sure. So, I guess, some people like stuff, others don't. It's all of, depends on each other. We each have a different taste. So thanks, what the hell? I just, oops. I have the wrong code here. So, just checking out here if everything is all right. I got cat hair everywhere. That feels like weird. Oh yeah. So thank you, Tim, for the donation. Very, very much appreciated. And thanks to everybody that donates. Really, really helps me a lot. I got to tell you. And it's much appreciated, everyone. So in an hour and 20 minutes, I will be live with Windows Insider Hour, and we'll be, of course, talking We'll be talking about the latest build. We'll have quite a few little things about the project Fluent design language, which was Project Neon before. And I hate, I'm going back and forth, but I hate generally everything that you heat. It's funny because, I like beer. I'm a big fan of beer. I got my beer belly. I need to lose that, by the way. I like wine. I like some of the hard stuff like vodka, especially vodka, good vodka. I like. I don't like whiskey or stuff like that though. But everything that somebody can make that has alcohol in it, I hate. Everything. It's funny, some make rum cakes and stuff like that. I hate it. Anything that has alcohol in it, for some reason, I can't. I just can't. Just, So, No problem, Leslie Catherine, if you can. If you can't, no sweat. But it really helps me a lot, I gotta say, guys. Helps me pay the bills. It helps me continue with the stuff that I'm doing right now. Still have an amazing decision to take that I don't know exactly what to do, but gotta tell you that. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Atawa Hinta. Nice to have great people like you supporting me. And I like anything that adds to my beer gut. Albert. Oh, God. Rum truffles. Rum cake. You see, I don't like it for some reason. I don't know why. Coffee's good. I like coffee too, Sean. I'm a big, big coffee drinker. Not too much because I get like these little heart palpitations or something. But if I drink too much. Yeah, Jacqueline McBride. Mostly the old machines are affected. Actually, the WannaCry ransomware has simply been updated because, by chance, a security researcher in the UK learned how to use a kill switch to block it. So it actually blocked suddenly because of that. But they really, really quickly sent out a new variant that didn't have that. It's just amazing. One of the funny things, Atawinta says, I like wine, but I'm a hard liquor drinker myself. One of the things that is interesting, and actually, me and Gabrielle, we have the family genes here. Me and Gabrielle, like alcohol, but we're not alcoholics. I mean, I could go without alcohol for a year and I will not even think about it, which is great. But, we were talking about how, when we do the live shows, we seem to be better the next day when we drink vodka or stuff like that than when we drink just beer. And I was telling him about a Mythbusters show. A Mythbusters show that they've tried the same amount of alcohol by drinking only beer and drinking the same amount of alcohol with our liquor. And the funniest thing is they were, and the next day with beer, one was sick, they had headaches, but when they did that with the hard liquor, taking the same amount of alcohol in the same amount of time, they were still drunk, but the next day they felt better. They actually felt much better. And so there's something there because, I mean, I think the fact that beer has a lot of sugar and everything maybe doesn't help, I don't know. But wow. Yeah, diabetes is unfortunately something you got to be careful, especially with alcohol, because alcohol part of, that alcohol actually turns into sugar. So when you have diabetes, got to be careful. Hey, Kirk Weber. Well, I'll do everything I can, Kirk, to continue on what I do here, but I got to take decisions. This month's, just to give you guys an idea, this month's AdSense is barely, I'm barely able to pay the bills and stuff. It's I'm completing paying the bills and stuff with the donations. So I'm thinking, well, if it gets like that, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I need to really take a big decision. That's for sure. We'll see what we're going to have. Josh K says, did not get the creators update, but my girlfriend got the creators update last night. Oh, cool. Pretty cool. Hey, Tommy, Varper Boy, nice to have you here. Answered your question a little earlier. Very nice. Everybody's happy to see you, I'm sure. So it's nice to have you back. Yeah, I'm Patrick. I have a few people around me that I know that are diabetic and need to be careful. Hopefully I will not. In my family there's no diabetics, so chances are maybe that. Okay, Douglas. What I would do is, did you try to run the Windows Fix-It tool from Microsoft? And make sure that you restart the computer and do that. The first thing you should do is try to have them installed. But use the Fix-It tool. It might actually help you. AdSense I don't think will come around because it's just dropping all the time. I think AdSense is a thing that is unfortunately not ever going to come back for sure. I think that Gripple Pearl's opening up to different platforms, having cross platforms, is a great idea. I think as much and as many devices and as many different platforms you can go to, the better it is for Microsoft. And I think it's nice because it also shows that I think it's a way to it shows that Microsoft is really open today that compared to the past. And no Grateful Pearls. You know what, Grateful? I was thinking about you because Paul Tarot was talking this morning about how they make modifications to Outlook.com with there's new settings for Skype. And as Paul Tarot mentioned in his article, the only thing they left out was an on-off switch. So there's new settings, but the on-off switch is still not there. But it's cool, it's cool to see Microsoft opening up. I'm amazed. I'm still amazed at the other announcement they had at Build, which is 3 versions of Linux will be coming to the Windows Store and run within the system. This is surprising stuff, I gotta say. So kind of interesting. I have the impression of being the only one, but I have to say that I love the focused inbox. I love it because I just focus the stuff that I want, and it's cool because I only see what I want to see, and when I have time, I check the other stuff. So I actually love it, but a lot of people seem to not like that. But I like the focused inbox, I gotta say. Pretty amazing. I think they're not working on it, the Ripple Pearls. My personal take on it, they're not working on it at all. The guy just said that because he wanted to, move on to something else. I'm pretty sure that they're not working on it. I can tell you that. A fresh start button, and where? And are you talking about the insiders or the regular version, Alex? Hey, Natasha Brown, nice to have you here. I knew in Natasha when I was last job that I had. I was a boss, and I knew in Natasha. She was great woman. So I'm sure you're a great woman. I'll tell you that. Okay, that's interesting. I haven't checked that out. A fresh start thing. Let's check it out here. Where the hell's my pointer? Okay, here it is. So, settings. Where was it? Start fresh. I'm trying to remember where Start Fresh was located. Forgot where it is. Was it an updated security? Start Fresh thing? Trying to remember, but we'll check that in the a little later in the Insider Show. For sure. So, I am going to say bye-bye to everyone because I want to go and at the grocery store to get myself a little something to drink for the Insider Show. So, hey guys, I will be back at 6 p.m. Windows Insider Hour. Even if you're not interested in the Insider stuff, you know what? A lot of people come to the Insider Show because they just love continuing the chat of, with the friendly chat if you want. I want to thank everybody as usual. This show is every Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 1900 hours Universal Time. So you can send your questions through the week at helpwithyourcomputers@gmail.com. That is where you can send your questions and just... I'll answer them as best as I can the next time we're around. Hope everybody enjoyed today's show. And so 6 p.m. on the Windows Insider channel, we're talking about the latest build, 16193, and what we will basically talk about, have a few things about project, the Fluent design language, and all sorts of little things. So hope everybody can be there. Thanks everyone. Love you all. And see you a little later for those that are not there, of course, on Thursday from the couch with Gabriel at 4 p.m., 2000 hours UTC. And retro gaming later that night. So we'll discuss all of that. We'll discuss the Fluent in the Neon stuff a little better later on. So take care, everyone, and see you a little later. And by the way, Viper Boy Tommy, I answered your question. Well, I'm not going to do another Anything Goes for now, Tommy. That was a kind of a special moment, but we'll surely have some unusual thing. I'm thinking of the last kind of unusual show especially in June, before I get to the before I take my little month off of live shows. So, but I'll be checking it out. I might be removing the karaoke songs from the video so that it gets back online for everybody. Yeah, what I'll probably do, Tommy, is I'll remove the karaoke songs and you'll be able to watch it. I think it's the best that we can do. So, hey, see you later for everybody. Take care. And for those that are here only on Tuesdays, see you next week. Stay safe. Love you all. Always fun to be here. Take care, everyone. Love you all.